This time of year, the garden is under a lot of snow. We're not eating a lot of fresh vegetables out of the garden. We're actually not eating any fresh vegetables out of the garden. The way we eat changes significantly from season to season, but I think especially in this winter season.
And as we move out of the garden and into the pantry, even the pantry has a flow that we move through in the different foods.
Yeah. Everything turns a little more inward focus, and I think even the food reflects that. You have a lot more like comfort foods, a lot more, there's foods out of the pantry, root vegetable type foods, things that are storable. That pantry takes a different look, it takes a different smell, and the meals just really change.
Well, even the effect the food has on you, as it's generally a heavier food, which you need this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
The days are colder. We are still working outside sometimes. We need those heavier, richer foods. And that does kind of reflect taking longer to digest, if you will, and taking time to reflect on things as past. We're not moving as nimbly, as quickly.
Right.
In the summertime, eating, say, fresh salads and coming in for lunch and having just some fresh food and salads and maybe just a little bit of meat, because you're going to go right back out and be very active. It's a big contrast from, say, that Irish stew that's full of just rich beef and potatoes and carrots that takes more time to digest and causes you to take more time maybe to sit and reflect and be face to face with each other. Yeah.
For us, it's been a journey to get away from the grocery store mentality, even in our own home. Like that mentality of recreating a grocery store in our own pantry so that we can have kind of these evergreen foods. They're just always ready for us. When you go to the grocery store, you don't think, well, what's in season right now? You just go, hey, I would like to have spaghetti or fresh pasta or something, and you go and you get those fresh things from the grocery store. When you go down to your pantry, you don't have all those things. But it's been that journey for us to learn to not try to recreate that even in our own pantry, but to move towards those storable foods and allow the seasons to dictate what we're eating. That's been a challenge for me in some ways.
Well, and it really is in the wintertime. I think that growing food and eating off of what we grow when it's fresh has been a lot easier. Developing systems, developing skills to both grow food, put it up well, and especially when it comes to food that we're not processing, to be able to draw off of that for an extended amount of time.
Right.
It's definitely, there's a learning curve. We're still learning. We're still
are
figuring that out and developing ways to make that work for us.
I think I've fought a lot this idea of what's healthy, and we have this real sense that fresh, raw veggies all the time and fruits, like having that year-round, means that it's healthy. Like if you're eating fresh salads every day, you must be healthy, right? And all of a sudden we go into winter in North Idaho, there is no fresh salad. There is not really fresh anything except for fresh snow on the ground. And so there's this level of faith in seasonality that it's good, that it's a good thing. And that has been hard for me to get my mind around. But I really believe that God has given us everything we need in the area we're at when we need it. And so just relaxing that idea of perfect health that we see on Pinterest or somewhere like that, and that's really based in that grocery store model of everything's available all the time. So in wintertime, the meal kitchen, the kitchen and meal prep actually becomes like the heart of the home and the center of the home. Unlike a lot of times in summer, it's outside.
Right.
The garden becomes almost the heart of the home in the summertime because everybody's congregating out there instead of inside. And so it's kind of this great time. You have the comfort of the food, you have the comfort of the family and the company, and lots of laughter around a wood cook stove and good smells and a lot of food. So it's kind of fun that it just, as the seasons change and the food changes, I guess the feel of the home changes in some ways too, and the activities change. So it kind of completes that circle of seasonality.
It challenges us, to focus inwardly, both on ourselves, even on our relationships around us, as we are indoors more, face to face more, visiting with each other, sharing a meal face to face, whereas opposed to summertime, we're often either eating on the run, or even when we're eating together, we're often outside, spread out a little bit on the porch. And it's definitely a different feel and experience.
meal planning on the homestead is very different, and this season really brings that out, because you're not asking yourself, what do I want to eat? You're constantly looking around and seeing what needs to be eaten. What's about to go bad? What's getting soft? What do we need to use up? Or what do we have too much of? Or have this constant dialogue with yourself about, what do I need to focus on using right now? And, you know, it's fun because you get to go shopping in your own pantry stores. And I really like that, getting to go out. You got me started on that, going out once a week and looking through the freezers and seeing, okay, what do I really need to start using up because I have too much of, or what am I using too much of and I need to slow down on, so I can have, you know, quit using the ground beef so we can have burgers in summertime and not just eat it all right now for meatloaf. And it really changes the way you plan meals and the way you see meals when you have to shop and you have to make what you have last for long term.
I'm seeing this flow as you describe this that really carries all the year through in working with what you have.
Yeah.
And in the garden, it's often what's fresh, what's going to come out of season.
Yeah.
Fast.
Right.
And I've never really put those together until you're saying that here.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not the one in wintertime really going through the food stores so much. So I can really relate to that journey, as you have to come down and look at which onions are keeping best.
Right.
Yeah, which are going to last the longest, which do I need to use up now? You know, how are the carrots doing? And the potatoes, and that's just kind of a constant dialogue and a constant conversation that then translates into the conversation in the kitchen around putting all those things together for a meal that we enjoy.
Right, yeah. So I think the types of meals that we're seeing a lot is meals that come from the root cellar. We don't have a technical root cellar yet, but you know, we have root cellared veggies. We've got the potatoes, parsnips, carrots, cabbages, different things like that. Like, it's amazing how many different ways you can put together carrots, onions, cabbage, and potatoes. Like, there's a lot of ways you can put those together and make them taste really good. Shepherd's pies, Irish stews, like lots of good food. But that's one of the challenge of being a cook in the wintertime when you're working with what you have, is taking those things that do store and making them like fresh and making sure that everybody's excited to see them on the table again.
Well, and I think that's emblematic of part of our journey right now in extending that part of the season and extending our skills to be able to do that more and more, to enlarge our own larder.
Right.
So that we can eat, fresh from the harvest, as it were, whole foods, not just canned foods, not just preserved foods, but learning more and more, both on the growing side in season and on the storage side, to be able to provide that kind of eating throughout the season and throughout the winter, to complete that cycle all the way around to where we can start growing fresh food again. Yeah. In the form of usually leafy greens, which we're well ready for.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and meal times in the winter are those special times because people aren't really in a rush to get back outside. So it's a slower time, and you can sit around. It's a good time to light some candles at the table, to actually sit around and tell stories and really enjoy that time. And I think that just reminds us that seasonality is such a good thing, and to take advantage of that and to let yourself slow down in wintertime and to be patient with the process of winter. We get antsy, we want to move on to spring, but to be patient with that, with yourself, and just take the fullest advantage of the time that we have together in those quiet winter days.